So I've chosen to review It's Complicated: The Social Lives of Network Teens by Danah Boyd. Published in 2014 by Yale University Press, the book represents the culmination of over a decade worth of in-depth research and data gathering into youth and the ways that they interact with the various technologies and social media that they come into contact with. The primary goal of the book is to demystify the ways that teens interact with various new social media and technologies for academics, for parents, or for anyone who's interested in youth culture. The book's thesis is exactly what its title implies. The relationship between youth and the media that they use and what they use it for, it's not monolithic or easy to understand. It's complicated. Intended for a wide audience, It's Complicated avoids academic language or overly complex theories and ideas. Where theorists are used, Boyd provides a quick background on the ideas and how they are useful for understanding youth's relationship to technology. This use of plain language is beneficial for the book's purpose because it is trying to reach such a broad audience. To illustrate the complicated relationship between youth and technology, Boyd looks at it through several different individual problems to help understand the whole, a sort of inside-out perspective. These problems range from identity presentation to transmedia literacy, and Boyd does a really great job at looking at them all very closely and still not getting too abstract and alienating her audience. Most of the problems are understood through a mixture of quantitative research and through a series of semi-formal and informal interviews with teens. All in all, although it presents a slightly vague argument, it turns out the relationship between youth and technology is complicated, I think the book does a great job of making this argument. One of the most powerful themes that emerges through the book is the conflict between parental fears and desire for a well-balanced and safe child. Boyd argues that this conflict exists because teens represent a certain space between childhood and adulthood, between innocence and deviance. That is, people are simultaneously afraid for teens and afraid of them. This conflict is clear in one of the strongest running themes that run through the book. Being a student of communications, I've decided that this theme is, surprise surprise, the media. Frequently throughout the book, I was confronted with the ways that teens and the things that they do are represented back to the rest of society through media. Whether it's parents or governments, television shows, or other teens, there seems to be a constant stream of stories that depict teens simultaneously as too stupid or naive to know what they're doing, as in the chapter about privacy and teen overshare on social media, or being downright monsters, as in much of the coverage of teens doing more sadistic things. This theme is an important one because, as with many other groups of humans, a lot of us only come into contact with teens through their representations in media. While I do have some experience dealing directly with teens, having worked in 2 different Starbucks near high schools, that is about as close and personal to a teen I've been since I was one. Boyd goes to great lengths in the book to demystify the types of things that get represented through the media. Take, for example, the idea that teens should be very careful around or steer clear of altogether the internet because of online sexual predators or otherwise risky behavior. Boyd argues if the media were to be believed, just about every other keyboard has a predator behind it, which stokes parental fears of nightmarish things happening to their children. Boyd argues that while teens do engage in risky behaviors online, there's usually a larger problem that feeds the behavior, and that though things like bullying do happen with greater frequency than should be accepted, it does not make sense to blame the technology as the source of the problem. You have to look at the whole picture instead of just blaming Twitter or social media for the problems in teens' lives. Why do teen girls get simultaneously slut-shamed and encouraged to be sluts at the same time? Twitter didn't do that. It's a systemic societal problem that needs to be addressed. If there are any conclusions that should be drawn from this book, it's that teens are people too. Society needs to stop thinking about teens as some categorically discrete and essentially different creature that doesn't understand logic, sense, respect, and privacy, and more as people. Smaller people? Yes. Louder, more obnoxious people who need to learn that walking very slowly and 5 across on the sidewalk during a very busy time of day is unacceptable? Certainly. But they are people, and they do think about the things that they're doing. They do understand that the choices they make now will affect their lives, and they want to make good choices. Most of all, it seems that teens just want to be with their peers and have a fun time experimenting with and pushing the limits of their identities, and finding out where they fit into a world that seems confusing to them because it treats them simultaneously as innocent children to be treasured and as a scourge that needs to be controlled in every aspect of their lives. Anyways, that's my review of It's Complicated by Danah Boyd. If you liked anything or didn't like anything, let me know below. But not like in the comments or anything, just like around this table that we're all sitting around right now.